I think that fear loses its power when you stop ignoring it or hiding it.
Hey guys, it's Lisa and I am back talking all things foster care. So we did take a little bit of a break from foster care after our previous placement reunified, and during that time of a break we had our really good friends, the Black family, also known as 0 to 5 family, come and visit us, and you can check out our adventures on their channel. But while they were here, I wanted to sit down with my friend Kristal and talk about the fears of fostering. And there are a lot of them, but even with that, why fostering is still so worth it. Hey guys, my name is Lisa Hoppy, and this is my friend Kristal from 0 to 5 family. Definitely go and check out their channel. So I'm so excited to get into this video and talking about some fears that foster parents may have. So before we get started too much, Kristal, can you quickly introduce yourself and how you are involved with this fostering world?
Okay, so my name is Kristal Black. My family, my husband Jared and I, we fostered and adopted a sibling group of 5. Our adoption was final in 2017. So ever since then, we knew that God wasn't finished with us, and we've been trying to help and encourage other people in the foster care world however we can.
And this right now will be one of them. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of like big fears that people always hit on. So we're going to kind of go over those, and then we're going to talk about our specific fears that we had with fostering and how we kind of work through that and why we still think that through it all, fostering is worth it. Overall fears. So I would say the big one probably is like, I'll get too attached.
Yes.
I can't do it because I'll get too attached.
Yes.
So like, what would you say to someone that has that fear?
Well,
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay, well, that's fine. So I would say that's kind of the point, is to get attached. These kids, they're just kids. They need somebody to attach to while their parents are trying to work through whatever it is they're working through. That's kind of our job and our goal as foster parents, is to be able to get them to a point where they can, where we get attached to them. We want to love them with all our whole hearts, and if you hold anything back, they'll know it. So it is kind of the point.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one thing that I have learned is that attachment can be transferred. And so we recently walked through reunification, and so it was really cool to see that yes, the visits continued throughout the whole case, but they only saw them twice a week. Yeah. But they also formed healthy attachment with my husband Peter and I, and then when it came time for reunification, like they were able to transfer that attachment they made with us and attach, back to their parents, and so it actually worked out like amazing. And you're like, cool. Yeah, you can transfer that. So I think another huge one may be for some people like, okay, what is the cost of taking on foster kids? And I won't get too much into that, but definitely go check out this video that I made about all the different things with money. And the bottom line is the state covers most everything, including all the medical things. And so there won't be too much out of pocket for you as a foster family, because we need lots of people, loving people, to be able to take care of these kids. There's over 400,000 kiddos in the United States that need homes, and so your home could just be, one. And so it's like, well, will that really make a difference? Yes, it will for that child, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you'll hear, and this may be one of the fears, is about the system is broken, and that sort of thing. But I do think that one of the things that the system does get right is they do financially support the foster children and the foster parents pretty well. Is it 100%? No. Is it pretty close? Most of the time.
So what other general fears or questions do you have about fostering? Definitely leave below in the comments. But now we'll get into our specific fears. So I kind of have a really weird fear that I have still, and I just had to get over. And that is I absolutely do not like talking to people on the phone. Oh. And so when it's time to make the pizza order, my husband Peter's actually going to pick up pizza right now, and I had him do the pizza call because I don't want to talk to somebody on the phone. And I got over it because I'm like, Yes, I'm going to be talking to the therapists. I'm going to be talking to the caseworkers. I'm going to be having to call and schedule the appointments. And so I just was like, pull up my big girl panties and let's make all the phone calls. So lots of phone calls in foster care.
Oh, yes. There is a lot of phone calls, a lot of face-to-face meetings with people you don't know.
I don't mind that. It's a phone call.
That's awesome. I think I got to where I didn't mind that so much either. A lot of strangers in your home.
Yeah.
But that sort of thing. For me, my biggest fear was, I had a lot of big fears. I drug my feet a lot.
Did you?
Becoming a foster parent. I did not want to do foster care. My biggest fear was probably taking in a kid that had behaviors I didn't know how to handle. You hear a lot of horror stories about these kids that are either really destructive, or they hurt themselves, or they hurt other people in the family, or pets, or you just hear all these awful horror stories. And at the time I was working in a school district and had seen some of these kids come and go in our district. And it was just really scary for me to think about bringing a strange child into my house with these behaviors. So that was one of the big ones.
Move past that?
So for me, it was just getting to know. I was, like I said, I was blessed being able to work in the school system, but we also had some friends that were doing some respite care at the time, and we were able to actually get to know some foster kids personally.
Okay.
And just having those faces, and when you see their little faces, even if it's a really scary behavior they may be exhibiting, you just see the face of God. Like, these are God's kids. These are kids that he created. And you see that when you get to know them. So that helps.
So if you hear about, a kid and they're like, they have RAD, they have ADHD, and you're just hear a bunch of like alphabets, you're like, what? But then when you meet the child and you put a face and you're like, oh wow, and they need a home. And also too, what I love too is if a child is not a great fit for your home, as a foster parent, you're not stuck. There may be kids that are like medically fragile, and maybe you're not equipped to, take care of that child, but like someone else, that is what they are equipped for. And so it really takes every different kind of foster parent to take care of kids. Another fear that we didn't really realize was a fear until it was happening was false allegations, and that was incredibly hard to walk through. I made a whole video about that. You can definitely check that out. My husband, he was so wise, and he was like, look, we say that we are willing to die for a kid, but are we willing to lose our reputation for them? And that was really hard. And I was like, he already made his decision, and he was like, his answer was yes. And I was like, that's great. I'm gonna have to think about that one. And our answer ultimately was yes, because again, it's not the kid's fault that they are in this situation, and they need someone to be able to step up.
That's true. That is
Any
true.
other fears? I'm sure there's going to be like tons more that we're forgetting. So definitely leave below.
Yeah. So I was also very afraid of sending a kid back to an unsafe situation.
Yeah.
That was a fear of mine, and I think that's a valid fear.
Yeah, that is.
And I definitely had to learn to release that to God. Because when you're a foster parent, they're not your kids.
Yeah.
And they are, like I said before, they're only God's kids, and he knows about them. They're not going to get lost in his eyes.
Yes.
And he goes with them. Instead of focusing on my fear, focus on what I can do for this kid today.
Yes.
Yeah. And you just have to do that one day at a time. What can I do for this kid today? What can we take care of today to help set them up to be safer, or to be in a better situation when they leave here?
Yes, you have to give it up to God at the end of the day, because he is sovereign and he is able to watch over them, and that does give me incredible peace in the complete unknown.
Yes.
So
yes, yeah, a lot of unknown. Is there any other fears?
I'm sure there are. Okay, of course, as soon as we had stopped recording, I later remembered something else I wanted to share that was a fear. And that was more so like when I became a foster parent, I had the fear of what other people would think when the kids were acting out. And I just had to remind myself that onlookers, they don't have the whole story. And if they did, they probably wouldn't be passing a judging comment, but they would probably give like a cheer, like, You're doing great. Good job. Like, you can't control the kids, but what you can control is how you react. So just to stay calm, and that's what people will see, is like, when the kid is freaking out, when they're dysregulated, how are you responding? And so for you to get dysregulated too, it doesn't help. I've tried it. It doesn't work. Everyone just gets dysregulated and it's not good. So just keep yourself calm.
It's very true.
And you thought of another fear too.
Yes, and it's actually along the same lines.
Yep.
I was worried, when we first started fostering, I worried about how my kids would act in other places.
Yeah.
So not necessarily that other places would not be safe for them, but that they would not be safe for other places and people. So it definitely made me appreciate people in my life and in my community who understood foster kids, because they would not do the judgy. It's just one big fear fest. But when you take the first step, it gets a little less scary.
Yes.
And when you talk about it with somebody, it gets a little less scary. I think the fear loses its power when you stop ignoring it or hiding it.
Yes, and bring it to the light. So if you have any other fears that may be holding you back from becoming a foster parent, definitely leave it below in the comments. And hopefully this video, we threw a lot at you and you're like, well, that's gonna make me never want to be a foster parent. That's not the goal. Even with those fears, to still step in and to be able to come around a family and support a family in a really difficult time, it's absolutely incredible. And the people that you meet along the way are awesome. So definitely consider becoming a foster family. So thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you are not already. And before this video, just recorded another video, and that's on the 0 to 5 families page. So definitely check out that video. So thanks for watching, and see you guys next video.
See ya.
Bye guys.